Bada boom, everybody. What we got? We are here. I am here, and you are here. If I am here, and you are here, that means we are here. See if I can get some of these shadows out the way by moving this mic a little bit. There we go. Beautiful image of my face staring right at you. And this is the Amazing Great Sports Network coming on a Wednesday. That's right, May 21st, 2025. How fast does this go? And why is it going so fast as I get older? That's what I want to know. Slow down. You don't have to go so fast. Listen, we have a pretty good show for you today. We have birthdays, and we have the NBA playoffs, and we have the NHL playoffs. We have all those things and more. And we have messages on my screen here that I'm trying to get rid of. Just popping up. It's like a spam call. That's my grand. I said it's a spam call. It says, no, sir, it's scam likely. They don't call it spam anymore. They call it scam likely. That's what I've been getting on my phone at least 10 times a day. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Amazing Great Sports Network on a May 21st, 2025 year of our Lord. I am Clay Morris, also known as Clarence T. Morris Jr. There is no Junior. Just I cut it off. I cut it off at Junior. You hear some of these names go on the third and the fourth and the fifth. I was like, well, I don't think so. I think we're going to stop it right here. And my sons have different names than I do. And I thank gosh for them. They don't want to be confused with me. And, I don't blame them. Let's put it that way. Okay, birthdays. What do we have for birthdays here today? I have a very important birthday. Let's start off with our little birthday cheer. Happy birthday, all. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. All you people. Happy birthday to you. What? Have you ever heard such melodic voices such as that coming at your eardrums, just entertaining, tickling them, making them happy? And gosh, we do need some happiness when it's overcast for the, I don't know how many day in a row, as it is in the metropolis known as Boston. Metropolitan. I'm just screwing up that word. So, the city of Boston. The city of Boston. We're just going to put it that way. Needs some sunshine because it is overcast again for I don't know how many days. So let us try to do a little something with this birthday here. Our birthday is going out to a valued member of the Boston Celtics back in the 60s. Today, we commemorate the birthday of Larry Eugene Siegfried, who was born May 22nd, 1939 in Shelby, another metropolis, the metropolis of Shelby, with the population of 9,000 in 2023. Shelby, Ohio, that's where Larry Siegfried was born. Let's get on with our tape. If it works. And of course, it doesn't work right now. Well, we always have these glitches here. And actually, that was why we were a little bit late trying to get this worked out. Oh. Now, Larry Siegfried played college ball at Ohio State for the Ohio State University Buckeyes, and made his mark as an all-around player who could score, play defense, and handle the ball. With Siegfried, the Buckeyes won the 1960 NCAA tournament, the only one they've ever won in school history. Yes, 1960. The next year, 1961, the team went undefeated until the NCAA final, where they were upset by this, Cincinnati University. At 6'3", 190 pounds, Siegfried was considered the prototype guard for the NBA at the time. He was the number 3 draft pick overall in the 1961 draft, but he refused to go to Cincinnati, the team that drafted him. It is said that he refused to play in Cincinnati because he had just lost to them in the NCAA tournament. Nobody knows for sure, but what we do know is that Siegfried joined Cleveland Pipers of the American Basketball League instead. The Pipers won the American Basketball League championship, then the league folded. The St. Louis Hawks acquired his rights, but then surprisingly they cut him. Lucky for Larry Siegfried, former college teammate John Havlicek convinced head coach Red Auerbach of the Celtics to try him out. Auerbach liked what he saw and signed him. Larry Siegfried proved to be a key pickup. He eventually became a starter next to Havlicek or Sam Jones in the backcourt. He was an above-average shooter who played tough, tenacious defense. He also led the NBA in free throw percentage in both the 1965-66 and 1968-69 seasons. In the 7 seasons with the Boston Celtics, Siegfried was an integral part of 5 championships, 1964, 65, 66, and 1968 and 69. Thank you, Mr. Larry Siegfried, for your contributions to the greatest franchise in the NBA, the Boston Celtics. Larry Siegfried passed away on October 4th, 2010. He may be gone, but he is not forgotten. Yes. Amazing. It's amazing. One of the many, many legends, and we can say forgotten legends of the NBA back in the 60s, people that made it great. And, Siegfried was a pretty good player, I got to tell you. The Celtics, Sam Jones and Casey Jones were a little bit long on the tooth when it came into the mid-60s. Casey had came on with Bill Russell in 1956, and Sam Jones had came on 2 years later in 1958. So they were a little bit long in NBA years when it reached the mid-60s, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69. And thank gosh, they got an infusion with Larry Siegfried. Larry Siegfried was a heck of a player. You know what? I should have did more research on how much he scored. But with the Celtics, it was not about scoring. Nobody ever jumps out at you if you look at the old Celtics teams of scoring 20 to 30 points a game. That's not where they do it. They do it by moving the ball. They score in between 10 and 20 points a game with a teammate, one of the guys getting 20 for that night, another guy getting 20 another night, another guy getting 20 the other night. And, well, that's the way they worked it, and that's the way it went. So Siegfried probably, I know for sure, did not average over 20 points a game. And I'm telling you, he filled up the ball. He was a great jump shooter. If you could tell by that clip, if you watched it, the guy was a great jump shooter. He can handle the ball. He likes driving the ball in. He loved to drive the ball in. He loved to bring contact. And when it came to defense, yeah, he would ride you like a horse, ride you like a steer in a rodeo. And he would not get up off you either. You were not going to buck him off. Maybe the referees would foul him out, but you were not going to get him off you. He was a really good player, and I mean the Celtics. But they owe him a lot, and I think every fan of Boston owes him a lot because 5 championships came while he was on the team. And I'm not going to hesitate to say this. He's probably responsible for at least 3 to 4 of them because he was the scorer. Sam Jones had fallen off at that time, and he was the scorer in the 68, 67, and 68, 69 season that gave the Boston Celtics the championships. Happy birthday, Larry Siegfried. Now, actually, it would be the 22nd. Okay, today is the 21st. His birthday is the 22nd, but let's get it done early, right? Better late than never. I mean, what am I saying? Better early than never, okay? As a priest once told me, They will forgive you for being late, but they won't forgive you for being early when it comes to saying mass or starting church early. But we're going to break that rule. We're going to go with better early than late. That being said, let's move on to the NBA playoffs. Yes, the NBA playoffs. Well, the Boston Celtics, gone. The Cleveland Cavaliers, gone. The number 1 and the number 2 seed in the East are both gone. So what's the use of the regular season if you get nothing but gone? I mean, we could carp on this. We could complain. We could kvetch about it and grump and grouse. But the truth is, there is a number 1 seed still playing. It's over in the West. They're called the OKC Thunder. And they are not only playing, they are winning. Okay, so maybe it's not the problem of the NBA schedule or how it's set up. Maybe it's the teams. It has to be the teams because OKC is still playing, and OKC is moving like a well-oiled machine. I think I got that out right. A well-oiled machine. Yes, OKC is moving like a well-oiled machine, and they thumped the Minnesota Timberwolves by 26 points last night, 114-88. That's a beatdown, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, they were playing in OKC. Yeah, we have to give them that. They were playing in OKC, but that still is a beatdown. So it's not the NBA's fault that the Celtics and the Cavaliers are gone. No, siree. It's the Celtics and Cavaliers' fault. If we can really call it a fault, we have to be honest. Darius Garland came into the game. He was hurt, and that really hurt the Cavaliers. They had to rely on Donovan Mitchell and Donovan Mitchell only, and that's not enough to beat the Indiana Pacers. And we have to say this. The Boston Celtics came in with an injury, already had an injury. Kristaps Porzingis was injured. He had a viral infection. He was trying to play, but as we can see, that didn't work out too well. Nope, that didn't. That was not able to stop the New York Knicks from putting the boots to the Celtics. to put it mildly. Anybody else got anything? You want to? Is there some fall? I mean, pushback on this? They didn't put the boots to the Celtics. Oh yeah. The Celtics just barely won the first 2 games. I mean, the Celtics barely lost the first 2 games. So I guess you can say, but that last game, Game 6. Oh yeah, New York beat them by 38 points. I recall that putting the boots to them, and they did it. I think they did it in Boston. Yes. Mm-hmm. So it's not the NBA's fault that the Celtics just couldn't get it done, or provide any resistance. Game 6 when they lost by 38 points. That being said, OKC is going to run the table on this. Is SGA the best player in the league? We might have to say yes. I mean, offensively, he's finally got the hang of the playoffs. At first, he looked terrible. The first series, he looked terrible. Second series, he didn't look too good. But toward the end, he started to find himself. I think the first series was against Houston, and he didn't look good at all. Houston, they kind of put it down on him, and he couldn't get started. He couldn't get going. It was I don't know. They did make the playoffs last year, but just didn't show. He just couldn't find his rhythm. But finally, he got it against the Nuggets. He started showing himself against the Nuggets, and well, after that, it was all over. He started getting it done. And last night, Mr. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had 31 points, a plus 22 in the plus minus section, which is pretty darn good. Rebounds, 5 rebounds, 9 assists, 3 steals. in just 38 minutes. There was no need to keep him out even that long. Let me tell you why. Because actually, Minnesota was ahead. Minnesota was ahead at halftime, and it looked like they were just gonna, that was it. It was done. I mean, Minnesota was gonna pull away, but then came the third quarter, and in the third quarter, well, OKC went on a 32-18 run. 32-18. Now that's pretty bad. But if you take away the 4 points, it was only like a 32-22 because they were only up by 10 at the end of the third quarter. Only up by 10. Only because in the fourth quarter, they went on a 38-22 run. 38 points for OKC, 22 points for the Timberwolves. And of course, that's all she wrote. I mean, that is the final quarter, but it was over before that because the onslaught was on. OKC was rolling, rocking, and Minnesota was reeling. They were reeling, and that was it. From what I could see, Minnesota better realize during the game. I saw them come down and take some deep threes, really, really deep threes. You can't be serious. You can't be serious when you do that. No, you're going to have to grind these things out. You're going to have to take the ball to the hoop and grind it out. And from what I saw last night, I'm not too sure that you guys can do that. Compared to OKC, Julius Randle looks old. Rudy Gobert looks old. And I don't know if they're going to be able to stay with these young guys. Chet Holmgren is dunking on people. Yeah, I'm telling you. I'm not kidding you. Chet Holmgren. He had 15 points, okay? But they were 15 dunking points. He was turning around and dunking the ball. He only shot the ball 9 times. He was 5 for 9 because most of them were dunks. Jalen Williams had 12 points. Isaiah Hartenstein, who New York traded, had 12 points. SGA had 31, and Luguentz Dort had 5. But they also got 9 off the bench from Alex Caruso and Ken Williams, and everybody on the bench just put in some time. Yeah, everyone. 1, 2, 3, 4, got like 20, 25, 30 points off the bench. So, I don't know. It's not looking good for Minnesota, I don't think. And it's one thing that I've noticed here. Okay. There's some impetus for these teams to play hard. Some of the players in this on these teams, okay, have a little bone to pick. SGA, he was drafted number 18, I believe. And number, you know what? I'm going to tell you how he was drafted. It didn't come to him easy. There are some people that are playing that had it easier. Jalen Brunson. I'm gonna put it like this. Okay, 2020 draft. Anthony Edwards was drafted number 1. Tyrese Halliburton was drafted number 11. It's going to be a little something to pick there. Jalen Brunson was drafted number 11 in 2018. No, SGA was drafted number 11. Jalen Brunson was drafted number 33. You know where my money's going on this? Or if I was to bet, and I don't bet. And so I'm not telling you to bet. Don't you dare do this off what I'm saying. Jalen Brunson and SGA feel like they got something to prove. I'm not sure who the number 1 draft pick was in 2018, but it wasn't SGA. And it's been 6 years, 6 or 7 years. He was drafted by, what was it? Charlotte, of course, a crap organization that, of course, doesn't recognize talent when they see it. So forget about it. They traded him to the Clippers, who traded him to OKC. On the Clippers, he sat behind Paul George and and Kawhi Leonard and Harden and those guys. He's a better player than all three of those guys put together right now. What was OKC thinking? And it comes down to this. When you're playing people just because you're paying them money, you're going to become a loser organization. I don't want to transition into baseball, but that's what's happening with the Boston Red Sox. When the inmates are running the asylum, and it might look good for a while, but it's going to go down because inmates don't know what they're doing. And you're playing them just because you're paying them so much money when you have people in the minors or people on the bench, such as SGA, who should be playing in their place because they are a better player and they're going to give you not only better performance, but better effort, all around effort on offense and defense, which really fuels your team. That is what fuels your team effort, along with performance. But performance without effort, your team is lackadaisical. They're dull. They don't have an edge to them. When the going gets tough, they are going to, well, not get going. Is a way of putting it. With SGA, you have a person who was eager, had the talent, and was ready to perform, but he had to sit behind bench. He had to sit on the bench behind players who, well, were just getting paid a whole lot. And one that's perennially hurt, Kawhi Leonard. And still, SGA couldn't get on the floor. The reason why I say that is that New York is going to be playing Indiana. And Halliburton was drafted number 11 in the 2025 draft. Anthony Edwards was drafted number 1. OKC is going to beat Minnesota because SGA is looking at Anthony Edwards like Anthony Edwards stole something from him. And he's going to take it out on him. It's not Anthony Edwards' fault that he was drafted number 1. He deserved to be drafted number 1. But if Red Auerbach taught anybody anything, and that's what Pat Riley has learned, you want to get a guy who's been looked over a little bit, a guy who's been pushed down a little bit. Okay? Bill Russell was a guy who was kind of pushed down a little bit and had to rise. So Auerbach couldn't wait to get his hands on him. He traded 2 veterans and a draft pick and everybody just to move up to number 3 to get Bill Russell. And he did so. Pat Riley does that with Bam Adebayo and a lot of his players. A lot of his players, you would think, who are these people? The guys with a chip on their shoulder. To me, SGA's got a chip on his shoulder. And if we go into the other side, the East, it's going to be Jalen Brunson with a chip on the shoulder. I would like to say I'm going to pick Indiana, but they're going to have a tough road because if Jalen Brunson comes in there healthy, he's going to power New York. So I'm going to take New York to beat Indiana in the East. It's going to be an unpopular decision here in Boston, but I'm taking it. And I'm taking OKC to defeat the Minnesota Timberwolves in the West. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but hey, you don't have to bet what I'm saying. And please don't bet because you're not living with me if you lose your house. Coming up later on today, it's going to be the first game of the Indiana-New York series. That's being played in New York, and tickets are as low as $400. Not quite the $600 they were getting for Boston because, there's real animosity between New York and Boston. I mean, Boston tickets were going for $800. New York, Boston playing in New York was going for $1,500. That's the way we feel about one another. And Boston people are pretty mad that New York has real money, real long money. And $800 is about, how much people are willing to pay top dollar to get a ticket for the Celtics. But New York, $15,000, $10,000, not even the finals, just the playoffs, second round of the playoffs. And the cheapest ticket you can get is a $1,500 ticket in New York when Boston is in town. Unfortunately, Indiana's not commanding that same price point. You can get tickets there for, like I said, $400. Minnesota versus Oklahoma City. Well, you can get tickets for $108 in Oklahoma City. Well, It ain't New York. It ain't Chicago. It ain't LA. It ain't even Houston. Yeah, Houston, yeah, they would pay some money for that, but it's not Houston. New York again on Friday, $524. It's gone up a little bit Friday night, but it's not going to go up for Indiana. No siree. Oh, wait a second. Indiana. New York at Indiana takes $220. Indiana's going to pony up. It's not going to go. It's not going to go up for Oklahoma City and Minnesota. That's $158 no matter how you cut it on Saturday. Well, that's enough for the NBA playoffs because there's only 4 teams still playing. That's it. OKC against Minnesota and New York against Indiana. The Indiana Pacers. Sentimental favorites, Indiana. Who do I think is going to win? I'm not going to bet against Mr. Jalen Brunson. Let's move on. Let's move on to the NHL playoffs. As I predicted, the Florida Panthers have moved on. They've gotten past the Toronto Maple Leafs. Yeah, the Toronto Maple Leafs who defeated Ottawa. Yeah, they got past Toronto. And, well, it wasn't pretty. There's been a lot of fallout for Toronto because they lost another Game 7. And this seems to be a pattern with them that they have very good players, very, very, very good players until it gets to be a Game 7. And the fallout over the internet was humongous. They've been calling them every name in the book, every name in the book. It's gotten so bad that the people who are defending the Toronto Maple Leafs are the Florida Panthers, saying they're really not as bad as you think. But maybe that's just because they beat them. They can say that. I'm kind of thinking that. So, Toronto, you're in trouble because Florida has your number so badly that they're speaking good about you. Florida, the Florida Panthers fans and the and the players are speaking good about you because, well, they own you just like that. And in the West, now that's in the East. The Florida Panthers have moved on to face the Carolina Hurricanes, and in the East, we have the Dallas Stars going against the Edmonton Oilers. Ladies and gentlemen, with the best player, Connor McDavid, the best player in hockey, Connor McDavid, on their team against Mikko Rantanen. I don't want to say Rantanen, but I will. I want to say Rantanen. Rantanen. It just sounds more exotic. Mikko Rantanen. And the Dallas Stars will be going up against the Edmonton Oilers and a guy they're saying, well, from what I can see, I mean, not only are they saying it, I'm saying it, it's the best player in the NHL. If you get a chance, I don't care if you're a hockey fan, I don't care if you're a soccer fan, I don't care if you're a cricket fan, I don't care if you're a basketball fan, tune in to get a gander at this guy, Connor McDavid, okay? You will not be disappointed. He had a pretty good surrounding cast around him too, but he's going to power that show just like Mikko Rantanen is going to power the Dallas Stars. And the Dallas Stars and Mikko Rantanen and Connor McDavid and Edmonton Oilers will play tonight. But last night, the Florida Panthers played the Carolina Hurricane, and it was a mismatch. for every time the Carolina Hurricanes missed a shot, the Florida Panthers scored. No, it wasn't that bad. It was 5-2. 5-2. Yes, 5-2. The Carolina Panthers beat them. And what I've noticed, okay, and there's really not much to talk about on the game because it was kind of like over. Sam Bennett had a goal. Lusteravin had a goal. AJ Greer had a goal. Carlos Verhaeghe had a goal, and he had the first goal. And after that, it was really like all downhill. I mean, it was all downhill for the Hurricanes. It was over. And Aaron Ekblad also had a goal for Carolina. So it's really not much to talk about. What I want to talk about is Brad Marchand. Yes, My beloved Brad Marchand, the Boston fans' beloved Rat, the Rat. How bad is? I mean, we can say how good he scored. He scored 2 goals, I believe, and has I don't know 3 assists already in the playoffs. Um, but Brad Marchand, the I was really upset when the Bruins traded him, and they probably had the you know approval of Brad Marchand. They probably went. Here's the deal. They went to him and said, "Hey, do you mind if we?" Always the Jacobs always looking to swing a deal and get from underneath the contract and get somebody cheaper. So they swing a deal, and they went to Brad. He was the only guy they had that they can dangle. Why would they were dangling anybody? I don't know. Um, anyway, so Marchand agrees to a trade to the Panthers, and immediately he upgrades them. Now you're saying, well, he's not better than some of the players on the team. You got to understand what Marchand brings. You remember when I talked about effort? The SGA was going to bring effort. He was going to bring not only performance, he's going to bring effort. With effort, when you see somebody else on your team trying extra hard and never giving up, it inspires you to do the same. Brad Marchand is that kind of player. And when they traded Brad Marchand, they traded the heart and soul of the Bruins. It's over for them for a couple of years. They have nobody on their team that will go to war. And we say this, Brad Marchand only stands about 5'5". He was already in the penalty box 4 minutes in the last game, in which they beat the Maple Leafs, I think 7-1. They crushed him, but he was fighting. And in the very first game, he gets thrown out the game because he was fighting again because he started a little friction down on, while he was in there. And one of the players, I can't even pronounce this guy's name, so I'm not even going to try. But one of the players for the Maple Leafs thought it was a good idea to shoot the puck at Brad Marchand. Said Brad Marchand's been around the block a couple of times. He doesn't take that lightly. So when it happened, he threw the gloves off. And even though the guy stands about 10 inches taller and about 50 pounds heavier, it started. Yes, that's right. It went down. And Brad Marchand won the fight. Brad Marchand, all 5'5", 160 pounds, 75 pounds at the most. All right. He didn't put a shellacking on him, but he beat him. Okay. And they threw Brad Marchand out. But this is what he brings. Brad Marchand is such an instigator that Sam Bennett and Tkachuk, they're not even noticed anymore. Nobody even notices that they're, well, a little bit dirty because they pale in comparison to Brad Marchand and the intensity that he brings at 5 foot, whatever. It's 5 or 6 and 140, 50, 60 pounds. I mean, the guy is not heavy. He is not big. He is not tall. But the intensity that Brad Marchand brings is something that every team wants. And the Florida Panthers are better for it. And if Marchand remains healthy and the Panthers remain healthy, they're going through the Hurricanes. They're probably going to meet, well, I'm thinking Edmonton with Connor McDavid. And that's going to be a series for the ages. It really is. I can't wait to see that. Well, I can't wait to see the rest of the series as it goes on with the Hurricanes and with the Dallas Stars and Edmonton Oilers. I can't wait to see the rest of that. But gosh, hats off to Brad Marchand. You deserve it. You're with a real team now. That's right. You're with a real team that goes out and gets players to play for their team, not just a draft pick. And then as soon as the draft pick demands, has outgrown his rookie contract and wants to get paid, not substantial because we're talking about the National Hockey League. Okay, wants to maximize his, and believe me, I'm all for the athlete getting paid, not as much as they're getting paid in NBA and in Major League Baseball. That's ridiculous. That's why these guys don't do anything. It's hard to get up in the morning and feel the need to do something when you're getting paid 50 million a year. It's just the way it is. I don't even know if it's their fault, but when you start paying them that much money, no, you got to you're set for life. You're set for life, and all you poverty is not your going to the poorhouse, or not being able to get anything to eat, and not being able to afford this or that is not your major concern, and probably not for the rest of your lifetime if you manage your money. But then NHL and NFL, no, they don't get paid like that. Maybe the quarterbacks do in the NHL, but no, they don't get paid that much in hockey. And so they have to maximize the time that they have out there on the ice. But when it comes to the Bruins, when it comes time to pay their players, they're the stingiest guys in the league. That's right. The Jacobs are the stingiest. They own the Garden and they own concession stands in other people's arenas. But it's all about the bean counting for them. It's all about making money. They're like that guy up in Chicago who owns the Bulls. They ain't gonna spend a nickel over what he can. He's gonna do as cheap as he can do it. He owns a franchise not for the fans. He owns it for himself and to say he owns it, okay, and to make money off it. He could care less if his team actually wins, as long as he makes a profit. And that is what the Jacobs family is like in Boston with the Boston Bruins. So good luck to you, Brad Marchand. Hopefully you sign back on with the Carolina Panthers after next year, and they even give you a raise for your efforts, something the Jacobs would never do. I hope you go far. I know you're going to go far. I know that you guys are going to go to the finals. And I'm actually going to say this. I would like to see the Florida Panthers win it. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I can close the show. I went on a little bit longer than but see, you can't give me a mic. You can't give me a mic in the subject. You give me a mic in the subject. It doesn't matter if it's hockey, baseball, badminton, ping pong, football, basketball, cricket. I'm on it. I just can't help myself. But I want to thank you for being here. Did I say a prayer? You know what? We're going to say a prayer on the way out because I don't believe that I said a prayer on the way in. There's so many things happening today, but it's always happening. We got so many crazy things, and everybody wants to reinvent the wheel or reinvent the Bible, and everyone wants to say what should be moral and not moral. I'm going to stay away from that. And I'm just going to say, I hope that Ukraine and Russia can get it together and stop wasting the lives of these young men. Okay, neither one of you, okay, can claim any type of high ground in this. Not Zelensky or Putin, but you guys aren't the ones dying. And get it together, cut it off. And this could stop in a second if the European nations would stop funding Zelensky. Okay, he's not a great character. He's a jerk. Not that Putin's a nice guy, but Zelensky's a jerk also. He's not the one down. His family is not the one out there taking casualties. He's living large, looking good, and doing whatever he wants to do amidst all this talk of being off of Ukraine. All that's fine and everything. But maybe you should lay your life down on the line if that's the case. But you're not going to do that. So let's try to get it together so that these young men can stop dying over there in the Ukraine. Hopefully, it looks like things are happening with Trump. Trump always seems to get the deal done no matter what people think or what they like to say about him. But, oh, wow. Good morning. Good morning. James Reinsdorf. Yes, you're right. Reinsdorf is the worst owner in NBA history. And I'm a Celtics fan, and I know that. Whenever a player comes up, I'm looking at my chat here, and I was about to go off, but yes, Reinsdorf is I can't, I don't even know how. I don't even know why. And you know what? I know why. You still go to the games. You still root for the team. But yeah, Reinsdorf couldn't care a thump about um, the people of Chicago. He owns the White Sox too. He doesn't care. As far as he's concerned, his job is to turn a profit. You fans can lick his boots or shine his boots, whichever one you want to going to um, go into his pockets or um, you know take away from his bottom line in order for the team to win. He wants a strong bottom line. That's what he wants. A strong bottom line. And that's his main concern. If he has to dip into his bottom line to pay a player or go get a free agent, chances are it's not going to happen. Sorry. Sorry, Chicago. And as bad as the Bulls are, um, yeah, the sporting page says Michael Jordan is a money machine. Reinsdorf knows it, and he doesn't got to do anything anymore. Well, yeah, I mean, they were looking pretty bad before Michael came. Yeah, they were down the dumps, and maybe he might have had to sell the organization because they weren't drawing. But after that, they still, what is it, 30 years later, pack a house there in Chicago. And if the Bulls don't get a something in the draft, okay, they're never going to go out and spend any money. They want to get it. They want to get a guy in the draft. Which this is the reason why they've been so bad all this time, because they want somebody in the draft that they could get cheaply. Okay, um, and they don't really want to build around them. They got Josh Giddey from OKC, but he was a cast off, so they're really not paying. They want to get low price guys and bring them in, and they'll keep them as long until they ask for more money, and then they'll trade them. So, fans, I don't know what to say for you in Chicago. You deserve better. Yes, you do. You deserve better. I wish that for you. I wish that you get better. Chicago has not won or been close, have not been in the finals since the 90s, and it's 2025 now. So, what is that? About 30 years. It's been 30 years since you guys were in the finals. Um, and or in the conference finals. That's right, in the East finals. You haven't been there in 30 years. So, you got owners who care and owners who don't care. I am glad that the Celtics have owners who care. And I'm glad that the Patriots have owners who care. And I'm even glad that the Red Sox have owners to care. They just don't know how to manage the team. But they'll go out and get the people. But it's tough. It's really tough. And the sporting page says, go Oilers. Thank you. Yeah, you're saying go Oilers. I'm saying go Panthers. We're going to see what's going to happen. But I would like to ask you, sporting page, do you think Connor McDavid is the best player in the NHL? Let's type in what do you think? Who do you think the best player in the NHL is? For my money, it's Connor David. And if he's still listening, he'll get back to me and let me know who he thinks it is. But if not, hey, well, you have your own decision. Now, let me put on the bumper music, and I'll finally let you guys go. 5 minutes later, like after that, I was supposed to let you go because I needed to say a prayer, and the prayer is stop the war in the Ukraine, and yes, and in the Middle East also. If we can get that done. We can see none of the Arab nations want to let any of the Palestinians into their country. Well, I don't know what that says, but nobody wants the Palestinians in their country. Not Egypt, not Jordan, not Saudi Arabia. You guys got to do something. All right, something's got to be done there. Change your attitude. Let's get it done. Yeah, the sporting page agrees with me. So yes, he is, but it's close. He must win a Stanley Cup, though. Winning is the standard here at the sporting page and at AGSN in order to be good. We'll see what happens. Ladies and gentlemen, I am out of here. Thank you for attending. Between you and me, there's a we, and we can get it done all the time in the world. Don't forget to pray. Say your prayers. You got nothing to lose and everything to gain. Have a good week. And see you on Saturday if you want to call into the show. 844-249-5247. 844-249-5247 on WEZE at 9 a.m. Saturday morning. Have a good week, everybody.